Is 8% too risky? Hello, members, super savers, and bond course fans. I hope you're having a good week. This is what we're talking about in today's video because I've been receiving more and more emails and questions from our community asking about our opinion on bonds that pay more than treasuries. And for those of you who've asked whether we're running a Memorial Day sale on our bond courses, yes, we've heard you. And yes, we've pulled together a 4-day flash sale for you from Friday, May 24th to Monday, May 27th, 2024 at midnight Eastern Time. I'll share the coupon code at the end of this video and in the video description below. And I do love using the term coupon code on this channel, by the way, because I associate coupons with getting regular, predictable interest payments from our bond investments. And it can't hurt when a coupon code can bring you savings on our bond courses as well. As usual, here's our front of video disclaimer. For a detailed disclaimer, please refer to the end of this video. Let's dive in now, folks. Risky bonds join the everything rally is the Wall Street Journal article that showed up in my inbox earlier this week, talking about the fact that investors are pouring into junk bond funds attracted by yields around 8%. But what really caught our attention was the second line from the article, the premium, the extra interest or extra return that investors demand to hold debt from sub-investment grade companies instead of relatively safe treasuries has shrunk to near pandemic era lows. Sub-investment grade bonds are also known as non-investment grade, high yield, or junk bonds. Now, as we share with our bond beginner students, non-investment grade bonds, high yield bonds, are great because, well, they typically offer a higher yield, higher returns than investment grade bonds. On the flip side, they also come with higher risk though. Non-investment grade bonds have historically had a higher default rate than investment grade bonds. Bond beginners, folks, please refer to Module 10 on corporate bonds, the video on how safe are corporates, if you need a refresher on anything we're about to talk about. Here's a table from S&P Global comparing the U.S. corporate average cumulative default rates between 1981 and 2022. Average cumulative default rate is a mouthful, by the way, but in essence, it describes the overall likelihood, the overall probability that a company will default on its debt over a certain period of time. For investment grade debt, that average cumulative default rate after 5 years is 1.06%, after 10 years, 2.4%, and after 15 years, 3.39%. Compare that to speculative grade debt, non-investment grade debt, where the average cumulative default rate after 5 years is 15.78%, after 10 years, 22.41%, and after 15 years, 25.84%. That's quite a difference in the likelihood of default between investment grade debt and non-investment grade debt. And S&P Global predicts that the U.S. non-investment grade corporate default rate will be higher again in 2024 than last year. So, as some of our Diamond NestEgg members and bond course students know, I spent my early banking years in high yield debt, but we don't talk about high yield debt much at Diamond NestEgg, precisely because of these default rates I've just shared with you. Safety is a top priority for many in our Diamond NestEgg community, and that's why this channel and our bond courses generally focus on these bonds here, and in this order from lowest risk, what's safest, to highest risk. And even with corporate bonds, the focus is mostly on investment grade debt. That does not mean that there's never a place for high yield bonds in a fixed income portfolio. Earning an 8% coupon on a high yield portfolio can be a tempting choice to some, and it may be a valid option depending on your personal circumstances. But before we get to that, let's talk about something else related to high yield bonds that we've been hearing a lot from some of you about. So in recent years, it seems that we've seen more and more advertisements for higher yielding fixed income or fixed income like investments pop up, especially on social media. Some of them may at times even be advertised as safe bond-like investments that are, in some cases, explicitly recommended as suitable for your retirement accounts. And we've seen social media ads with offerings as high as 13% for 10-plus year bonds suitable for accredited investors. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to earn significantly higher returns on a fixed income investment than you would on an equivalent term treasury. Just keep in mind the mantra that I can't repeat often enough. In the world of bonds, it's always higher risk, higher return. Or if you switch it around, higher return, higher risk. And we haven't found many exceptions yet that have stood the test of time. So, whenever you're considering high-yield bonds and or other high-yielding investments advertised as safe and or bond-like, whether on social media or elsewhere, ask yourself these two questions. Why is the return so high? And where is the return on an equivalent term treasury currently? Treasuries, the safest, most liquid, non-callable investment in the world. And if the answer is that the equivalent term treasury is yielding less, or in some cases significantly less, then there is more than likely a reason that the safe and or bond-like investment you're comparing it to is paying more, or in some cases significantly more. Perhaps it's invested in an industry like oil or something else that may be volatile and risky. Because to say it again, higher risk for higher return. Or as my grandfather would say in different words, there is no such thing as a free lunch. If someone promises you legitimate higher returns, we're not talking fraudulent tricks here. There's always a reason for it, usually higher risk. A good point to start when doing your due diligence on a possible higher yielding bond investment, or frankly, any bond investment that you're looking at for that matter, are these 7 key bond risks that you should always consider when investing in bonds. We've talked about most of these on this channel to varying degrees. Bond beginner students, all this is in Module 2 for you, the risks of bond investing. So the next time you see a bond or bond-like investment that's yielding 8%, 9%, or even double digits, go back to these bond risks here and see how the high yield investment that you're looking at fares in these 7 bond risk categories. This should help you better understand where the risks with that investment lie. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about these bond risks, how to invest in these different types of bonds here, and how to build a bond portfolio, then check out our 2 new bond courses, Bond Beginners and Bond Masters here. The coupon code MEMSALE2024, all lowercase, is valid from Friday, May 24th to Monday, May 27th, 2024 at midnight Eastern Time. Use it to get 10% off Bond Beginners, Bond Masters, as well as our bond course bundle. This is the most popular choice amongst our Diamond NestEgg fans at the moment. And yes, that's 10% off on top of this $100 savings when you buy both Bond Beginners and Bond Masters together. Please also note this will be our lowest offer this year for this popular bond bundle, and you won't see this attractive offer again after Memorial Day. Take advantage of some of these anticipated higher for longer interest rates that we're currently experiencing, and check out the links below this video for more details on our bond courses. And don't forget, your purchase is risk-free with our 7-day refund policy. We like risk-free at Diamond NestEgg, right? So, one final remark I'd like to leave you here with regard to high returns in the world of bonds. Remember that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. That said, not every high-risk investment is necessarily bad. You just need to understand what you're getting into and decide for yourself whether it's right for you. Everyone's financial journey is different. And even if it's right for you, how much of your eggs do you really want to put in that risk basket? Going back now to our original question for this video, is 8% too risky? For the high-yield bond investors in this Wall Street Journal article, it appears not. For us, personally, it is, especially given where Treasury yields are right now. We value safety and predictability when it comes to our bond portfolio, and we leave the risk with our equity portfolio. What about you? Do you own any high-yield debt in your portfolio? Or are treasuries, agencies, munis, and investment-grade corporates more your cup of tea? Drop a comment below and let the community know. All right, members, super savers, and bond course fans, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. And see you again very soon with more brand new wealth building content for your financial journey.